too. So what's the difference?
Again, Marner can get whatever he wants. I'm not trying to withhold him from getting money.
You're saying this is not about Marner. This is just about.
I'm saying it's weird that the league may have the highest paid player be like the 22nd best player in the league, who's never won anything, and like that. Fair. That to me optically is very strange. That's what I'm saying.
How much time has to elapse before you're comfortable with the idea that the rising cap is going to, like, players who are not as good are going to get paid more than players who are better who have signed a long-term deal? Is it 1 year? How long is it going to be before you're going to be okay with it?
Good point, and I don't have an answer for you, but you're right. I mean, it's going up, and everyone's floating up and all. And again, I'm not saying Mitch shouldn't, like, for me, he should get basically what Rantanen got. Like, Rantanen also just signed for 12. His agent knew. The Stars knew. How do you justify Rantanen getting 12 but Mitch getting 14.25?
He's going to the free market.
I get it, but Rantanen he could have as well, and he decided. All right.
I like this.
Yes. But it's not. It was the free market, Jonas.
It wasn't.
No, it was, because he could have said, "I'm not signing with you," and Dallas was like, "Well, we really want you." And he's like, "All right, well then let's work this out. Pay me what I want." And they said 12, and he took it. He could have stayed in Carolina and played it out. He didn't. And again, that was like a month ago. A guy who's on the same wavelength, in fact, better, certainly in the playoffs, signed for 12. And Mitch is going to get $2.25 million more per year, and a team's going to say, "I can justify that." That's crazy. It's crazy behavior. I'm not saying it won't happen. I'm not predicting it won't happen. I'm just saying if and when it does, it's absurd.
Well, let me ask you guys this.
We've talked about
I know the
cap
implications.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we've also known the scar tissue for Rantanen getting bounced around. He wanted the security of a deal. He didn't want to take it to open market. Go ahead, Noodles.
Well, I'm just going to say, is there a contending team that is going to be able to fit him in? That would be or is it going to be the Utahs, the Chicago?
Do you think Vegas will pay him 14.25?
I don't think he's going to get 14 in Vegas.
They will pay him net tax $13 million contract. A Toronto 14 is a Vegas 10.5. They'll give him that.
Okay. Yeah, I get it. So, but the point being is his cap hit will be 10.5. It won't be 14. That's the difference, right? Like that's so.
If he goes backwards on 10.9, that will be hilarious.
But the point, like my point, Johnny, is he's not going to be walking around. So the PA doesn't list it with an asterisk saying he's in a tax-free state, so he's only
take-home pay. They do cap.
Right, exactly. They do. So my point is if he is going to get a number north of 14, is it going to be on a contending team? That would be my question.
Anaheim, Utah, Montreal, Chicago, Detroit, all would be willing. Toronto would not do 14, but something close to it. Toronto might be the best team that he can get the most money from, really, to be honest.
Well, 8 years. Yeah.
And get that 8th year as well. But I don't know what you think of Anaheim as a team, but they would certainly be up and running. I don't. Utah is not a contender, but they're not garbage. And maybe even Carolina. Now, Carolina won't give him 14. They will not. But they're a good team, and they would give him a contract that would make him one of the highest paid players in the league. He might get a good team.
Yeah. I mean, and there might be teams moving money around or whatever also, right? You can free up stuff. And it's kind of difficult to do this because it's been 7 years. But if you can recall when Tavares signed here, who do you think is a higher profile free agent? Mitch Marner, where he is today, or John Tavares, where he was 7 years ago?
I mean, you said higher profile. It's Mitch because he's coming from Toronto versus John Tavares, who may have been a better player, although he wasn't. John Tavares he never had.
He was a Hart Trophy finalist twice.
He was, the one time he tied it with Jamie Benn that weird year with 89 points. But Mitch is probably slightly higher. I mean, the point totals are up. The exposure in Toronto is up. The hype around his contract and his career is much greater than what John Tavares was when he was leaving the island. So, as far as profile, I would say Mitch. As far as player, that's a more in-depth conversation.
Him to a deal, whatever it is, 3-year deal, 4-year deal. What's that dollar amount? And who has to explain it? John or Tree Living? I would suggest both. I would suggest both. But let's say it's $7 million on a 3-year deal.
$7 million.
I'm sure that's what he's asking for.
Be two.
I'm sure that's what he's asking for. You know, he might be asking for more.
It just, I think, here's the thing. Do you not think that if John Tavares wants to stay, it's going to have to be definitely a hometown discount? But can't you do it July 10th? Like what?
Yeah,
what
but
is
he's
John
probably
willing to do that, though?
he's probably saying,
Why would he
I
do
got to
that?
get my life sorted out here. You think I'm going to sit around and wait? And what if they give him the high hard one and just on July 10th they're like,
that ain't happening. There's no way Tavares and his camp will let that happen. I mean,
no, that's why he wants an answer. He wants
Yeah.
to figure something out.
But
and he
you
has the
can
right
allow
to.
him to.
Of course.
Yes, you can allow him to go to market and say, yeah, you know what, this team's going to give me 8. We say, congratulations, take the 8, and you go and you look at other players. You like, that's the biggest thing. Unless you absolutely want him as your third line center for next season, that can kiss up into the second line center, all of that type of stuff, or
Well,
play wing. Like,
Who's
again,
playing
this
second
team
line,
needs-
though, if it's not John Tavares? Like, that's the question.
Well, this
Like,
is where you got to get creative.
I totally
This is
agree
where you're
with you,
talking
but-
about trades. It's not about signings. It's about trades. It's about finding players within the league that need to change the scenery. We were just talking about how everybody's open for business. Everybody wants to. You don't think Brad Treliving's working the phones right now? And
Well,
there's
obvious.
lots of
I'm sure he
players.
is. But again, if you're saying Tavares is your third line center, then you can't even pay him $5 million a year, in my opinion. Like if you have him penciled as your third line center, you got to have. What does Lundell make? 4.5? You know, like you can't pay a guy $6-7 million to be on
No
your
kidding.
third
If
line.
he is your third
but
line centerman, why would you want to pay him $7 million? Like that's when those numbers come. Like, I just don't understand why Patrice Bergeron was at the end of the line and he signs for $2.5 million, and all these, like, I have the comments coming my way in public where it's like, yeah, just 3 years at 9 makes sense to me, and I'm like, you guys are all
I know it's
insane.
crazy talk.
Dude,
Obviously, and that's not going to happen. I mean, the Leafs.
yeah.
I don't think so. I don't know. I mean, the Leafs
Like,
have a history.
if
of
I
losing
ran the
every
Leafs, it would be very
negotiation.
simple. We just gave you $80 million. You're going to do us a favor on this one, or we're not doing it. Sorry. There's no 7. There's no 6. There's nothing. None of that talk is happening here. If you want to come back and you really want to stay here and that's your only objective, you are doing us a serious favor. That's the only way and the only terms that this deal is happening. Take it or leave it. Go and find a place to play because it won't be here.
Yep, I totally agree with that. I see it the exact same way you do, but that doesn't mean Treliving does, and it doesn't mean Tavares does. And that's what we're going to find out in the next 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
But
Like, good player, guys. Scores a lot of points, scored 38 goals last year. For the $80 million, and he was a part of it, they won 2 playoff series. So why would there be such a need to bring the player?